funny thing happened to me not 3 weeks ago. I was driving away from Boulder's most delicious and therefore totally reasonably priced ice cream shop, and my eyes met with those of somebody hauntingly familiar, my high school boyfriend. Yeah, or not, actually. His hair was matted, his clothes were dirty. He bore the signs of years of homelessness and mental illness. I wish I could say that this surprised me, but it didn't. We were drawn to each other, you see, by shared experiences of neglect and teenage homelessness. Like many others born into dubious circumstances, he was failed by a child welfare system incapable of responding effectively to his crisis. My high school boyfriend never healed from his wounds inflicted on him during his most vulnerable years. I, on the other hand, was lucky enough to escape such a fate, and so I'm here to offer a beacon of hope to you that with your help, we can reform the foster care system. The statistics are harrowing. 500,000, that's the number of kids in the system, and that, of course, doesn't even include those who have fallen through the cracks. 51% have experienced teen pregnancy by the age of 19. 11% of kids have been in the foster care system for over 5 years. 3/4 of kids, upon leaving the system, will have experienced sexual abuse, and this number, by the way, is 4 times higher than the number of that in the general population. Education outcomes are dismal as well. Only half of kids in the foster care system will graduate high school. Only 2% will attend college. So let's back up for a second. What is foster care? Well, foster care is the system in place for kids whose parents, either temporarily or permanently, are unable to care for them. So the state steps in and becomes legally responsible. Kids are placed in group or foster care homes. So then what's the problem with this institution? Well, put simply, organizations just aren't working well with one another. There's no cohesive system. They're very siloed. So it's really just a combination of many overlapping and interacting agencies. All these agencies are charged with providing services to children and families, but the lack of coordination, chronic underfunding, low morale, these have all led to a system that exacts a toll on everyone it touches. So let's talk for a second about that chronic underfunding. The average pay for foster care social workers is $34,000. Did anybody say low morale? Furthermore, in most states, the rates paid to foster parents fall far below the cost of actually raising a child. The system is also unable to interrupt generational cycles of dependency. Foster kids, they act out, they experience teen pregnancy, they have their educations interrupted. So what we end up with is lots of children who are unable to raise their own children. We don't have time to wait. In spite of the fact that only 0.3% of California's kids are in foster care, 40% of prison inmates are former foster kids. So we must break this cycle for the health of society. So I've painted a pretty bleak picture, and I know this is really depressing, so I'm going to give you all 15 seconds of dogs dressed up in Star Wars costumes. But seriously, that Chewbacca's awesome. But what can we do to fix this dismal situation? So here's what's needed in the system. We need to break down the silo walls by coordinating organizations. We need to transform frontline practices, build continuity in the relationship between judges, nonprofits, caseworkers, families, children, schools. We need to provide adequate tools to organizations serving kids. We need to enable bottom-up flexibility in financing over a top-down bureaucratic approach. We need enhanced accountability, spurred by people in the community like you people here who care about this issue. And speaking of caring people like you, what can you do on an individual level? Well, you can advocate. You can become a mentor to kids who need stable and caring adults to look up to. Yes. You can become a foster parent yourself. I know it's a difficult road, but it's totally worth it. It's one of the most rewarding things you can do. You can also support local organizations that are working on behalf of foster kids. Ultimately, children deserve our best, whether working as an individual or as an organization working in coordination with others. Every child deserves a world in which all children are loved and provided for physically, mentally, and emotionally. A world in which the institutional response to every child's crisis is swift and effective, and in which our society no longer accepts excuses for the failures and shortcomings of our foster care system. So thanks so much for being here.